Good evening, everyone. And thank you for jumping on the stream this evening. I trust that everyone has had a fantastic afternoon and evening. And to all my moderators, if you can hear my voice well, give me a sound check. If everything is good, put a 1 in the chat box. If you can hear me well, put a 1 in the chat box. Awesome. Thank you, Abdul. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Gail. Thank you, Abdul, for getting on the stream this evening. We're going to have a good stream tonight. I want to talk about, won't be long, but I wanted to deal with this. I think it was pressing that I dealt with this particular subject in light of what I dub as the pandemic in the Black community as it relates to relationships. You've heard me call off the stats according to demographics, blackdemographics.com, that 1 in 4 of every Black women in this country will marry in a lifetime. 1 in 4. I don't know how many of you ladies take that serious enough, but I'll tell you, 1 in 4 means 3 of you across the board will die alone. And maybe that's not a big deal. And what I'm finding out with this new narrative and this new mindset today, it doesn't seem to be such a big deal. It really doesn't seem to be a big deal, because I'll tell you something. People take on husbands and wives like they take off their underwear. Take them on, put them on, and take them off. They change relationships like they change their shoes. Like they change from a new pair of clothing to from a new pair of clothing to an even newer pair of clothing when that new pair of clothing becomes unuseful. There's really no real importance taken to relationships or marriage at all. It's a frivolous act. It's something people just do because it seems they have nothing else to do. It seems that way. It's really sad, because again, that kind of behavior that we find a lot of communities in, the Black community in particular, is what leads to what we see now from a negative standpoint where community is concerned. I wanted to highlight tonight the sudden separation and or divorce of Miss Tia Mowry and Mr. Corey Hardrick. You know, again, very sad state of affairs. Very, very sad state of affairs. I'm going to react to a specific video where Mrs. Mowry, who again doesn't even use her husband's last name, but yet she's married. Oh man, I tell you, this modern mindset is absolutely disgusting. It really is. It's really disgusting. No respect at all to the whole institution. To the whole institution. So today, after she has now decided to leave her husband, break up her whole entire family, fragment the children from their father, you know. And I will tell you, ladies, women in general, Black women in particular, the biggest homewreckers in the country when it comes to your relationships. 85% of all divorces are filed by Black women. You've heard me say this. I will continue saying it until it actually means something to many of you ladies that hear these kind of talking points. I'll repeat it again. 85% of all divorces in this country are filed by Black women where our community is concerned. 85%. Again, Black men are not leaving their relationships. Black men are simply not leaving their relationships, but divorces are filed for the silliest, dumbest reasons. And it's funny how the grounds from which Mrs. Mowry filed for divorce was according to what I mentioned in my last stream. The most ridiculous reasons, irreconcilable differences. And again, I repeat, just like last stream, what the hell is what is it called? Irreconcilable differences. What is that? What is that? I bet if you asked 50 people, they couldn't tell you how to define it, because it makes no sense. What is irreconcilable differences? When you have children, and when you were together for 19 years, building a family. I want to ask you ladies a question that watch the stream. And again, shout out to all my new YouTube subscribers. As you come into the building, a little housekeeping, hit the subscribe button and the share button. I appreciate your support. But I want to ask you ladies a question. Do you believe that all relationships are without trials and tribulations? Or do you believe that you float on some lofty cloud where everything is roses and peaches from the very beginning to the very end? What exactly do you define as a marriage and or relationship? Because it seems today it doesn't take much for you ladies to walk away. It doesn't take much at all. Doesn't take much. And I find it very sad that under the current situation with Tia Mowry and Corey Hardrick, how women across the board are celebrating her and her husband's separation and or divorce. They're celebrating it. They're applauding her while she talks about it's my truth that she's living. While she talks about how she's living her own purpose. You know, these kind of conversations and talking points that many of you ladies have, I'll tell you something, I'm so sick of hearing that garbage. My truth, my happiness, my. You think you just left a Johnny Gill concert, because everything is my. The sole purpose on the earth for a woman. Now, you may not like what I'm about to say next, but I don't care. Because looking at the condition that we have in our community, you need to hear the truth exactly the way it has to come. Your sole purpose, it's not your career. Your sole purpose on the earth, it's not your job, and it's not how much money you make. No. Your sole purpose on the earth is to your husband. I know you don't want to hear that. I know you don't want to hear that. Because the narrative today is that even if you get married, that you have to protect some identity, when your identity lies in your husband. I know you ladies don't want to hear that either. It's all right, because your outcomes have proven that you're not listening to the right people. Your outcomes are proving that. Again, I said 1 in 4 will marry in a lifetime. And out of those that do get married, 85% of those marriages are dissolved. Divorce is filed at the hands of women. So you may not want to hear it, but that's all right. You need to hear it. You need to hear it. Well, Charles, what gives you the right? Who are you to tell us? Well, my question to you ladies is, who can tell you anything that you're duty bound to listen to? Who will you listen to? It doesn't have to be me. You don't want to hear me, you can turn me off. But who will you listen to? So that we could turn this thing all around. Who will you listen to? That's the question. And does it even matter who it comes from? And I'm again sold that the modern woman is sold out to the narrative. She's simply sold out to the narrative. of what modern society is telling her. She's simply sold out to the narrative of what modern society is telling her. And it's really, really, really sad. So we're going to get right into it. Again, like I said, this is not going to be a long stream, but this was so disturbing to me, you know. And to Tia Mowry, if you hear my stream, you have just joined the ranks of those that are single. And I want to ask you another question. While you talk about finding love again, you had love. Why are you throwing it away? And why are you on Instagram thirst trapping, Tia? Who are you trying to attract? Another man? Well, guess what? You had one. Not only did you have one, but he fathered 2 of your children. So who are you trying to thirst trap for? On Instagram, a mother of 2 at 44 years of age. What are you trying to do? Who are you listening to? I hope you don't think you have any friends. And ladies, let me say this to you. If you think you have friends, you don't have any friends. You got single women telling married women about relationship advice. I've said it over and over. Single women keep single women single. And single women influence married women to second guess their own relationships. And some of you ladies are stupid enough to listen to a single woman give you relationship advice. Really? That's like me telling a plumber how to do plumbing work and I'm an electrician. It just simply makes no sense. Why are you listening? Tia Mowry, why are you listening to the public? Why are you listening to your single, miserable friends and fans who are encouraging you to continue on the path of dissolving your relationship with your husband, who you felt good enough to mother 2 children by? You know, I don't understand you ladies. I don't understand you ladies that will lay down with a man, give him children, and then years later find everything wrong with the relationship. I don't get it. Should you not do more investigation before opening your legs? Or is it just simply okay to do that first, then find a problem? Like I said in other streams, the women of old were simply made of better stuff. Make no mistake about it. Make no mistake about it. Every relationship that I've ever seen that lasted 30, 40, and 50 years, I didn't see it in my time while I was growing up as a child. No. I saw it after I was already an adult. I ran into people that were not even related to me. And many of you that watch this stream, you know you don't have that experience as a young person coming up. Many of us, we don't know of relatives and family members who have stayed together married successfully for 30 or 40 years. Many of us, some of us, are in families where we don't even know of anyone that is married or has ever been married. So what is it do you believe it takes out of you? Ladies, what do you think it takes out of you to keep his attention on you? Now guess what? You know, I'm not surprised. I'm sure you're not. Here's the narrative they're trying to paint now with Tia Mowry and Corey Hardwick, that he cheated. I tell you, man, you know, some of you ladies are vicious, man. You are vicious. You're vicious. Misery loves company. Misery loves company. So many women are running around with no man. They're just riding the cock carousel, going from one date to the next date to the next date to the next date, with hopes that the individual that they're going on a date with is going to choose them for life, only to find that they're just riding over and over, back and forth, from date to date, having a whole lot of sex but no solid commitment in a relationship. So when they find another young lady who shares their own reflection, women in general, black women in particular, you guys are vicious to one another, man. Who will tell another woman what she needs to hear? Who will be the real friend to the woman who needs a friend, who needs to hear good advice as it relates to relationship? All of those of you that are in successful relationships for any long extended period of time, why don't you come out publicly and talk to this young lady to give her the advice that she actually needs to hear? Oh, I know you're outnumbered. You're outnumbered greatly by those that wish to see marriages dissolved, so that the ranks of the miserable, the ranks of the single, will have a new member who joins their ranks. Again, like I said, misery loves company. Misery loves company. So you got a whole bunch of loud mouth women who are single telling this woman that she's doing the right thing. And let me just say this to you. If Corey Hardwick was guilty of infidelity, which is, I know many of you ladies want to be the truth. I mean, you want it so badly to be the reason. I know. You want it to be the reason. Because to think that she simply got bored with her own marriage, to think that she just simply got bored with her own marriage and walked away, or to think that being married was just too boring of a task. I need some excitement in my life. I need to get out there, man, and be excited, because this whole marriage thing is it's just boring me to death. I know for many of you ladies to even give that consideration that is what happened with her. I know it's just not easy for you to do that. It's much easier for you to assume that he cheated on his wife, that he had an extramarital affair. Well, I will tell you this. That narrative is being spun. It's not being spun by Tia. It's being spun by you ladies who claim to be her fans and who claim to be her friends. You are spinning that narrative all over the internet. And yet, when she was interviewed publicly, she never said one word that even hinted at the idea that Corey was unfaithful to her in that marriage. She never gave any real clear details. And if you've watched any of those interviews with her, you'll notice that she did more talking about herself and what she wanted and what new awakening she has. 19 years later, she all of a sudden awake. So let me get this correct. So you telling me for 19 years she was asleep? You can't make this stuff up, man. So for 19 years she was asleep, and she just got an awakening after 19 years. And now she's living out her truth. So what were you living for 19 years, Miss Tia Mowry? A lie? Because if it became your truth after 19 years, what was it for 19 years? Whose truth was it? Whose truth was it? You already made it clear that Corey Hardwick was your first boyfriend, who then ultimately became your husband. That means your relationship skills are in the sub-basement. In the sub-basement. The only male experience that you've had intimately was Corey Hardwick. You said, Mrs. Tia Mowry, you said that for a year you remained friends and there was no intimacy. You said that. You also said that for several months y'all didn't even kiss. You and Corey didn't even kiss. It was only after a year and some change that you guys began to date. He's never given you any indication that he wanted anybody but you. And look, and let me say this to some of the critics out there that had something to say about this relationship, who tried to give her advice as to say that they saw red flags because when she met him, he was at a bus stop waiting for a bus. Well, what the hell is a bus stop for? A bus stop is to catch a bus, correct? So somehow something's wrong with him. That's a red flag. You know, some of you ladies are so silly. Oh man, you're so silly. And you say things as if you said something intelligent. That's a stupid statement. I saw a red flag because he was at a bus stop. So what? Have you ever been at one? Well, I see red flags if you're at a bus stop. Ever been to a train station? I see some red flags if you go to a train station. Have you ever had to walk anywhere because you had no ride? Oh, well, hey, I'm going to tell you, I see some red flags if you had to walk anywhere. You see how silly that is? But some of you ladies fed that nonsense into her head. I saw red flags because he was at a bus stop. So what? So silly. Some of you ladies that are single and by yourself, you need to mind your business. Stay out of people's relationships that have one and see if you can manage to get one yourself successfully and keep it. That's what you should do. It takes more energy to mind your own business than to mind somebody else's. But I know, like I said, misery loves company. Loves it. Loves it. And many of you ladies love to inject yourself where you're not wanted. Stay out of people's relationships. Keep your mouth closed and stop bumping your gums into somebody else's relationship. And many of you ladies are in relationships. Many of your relationships have been destroyed because you allow other women who are single to talk to you in your ear when you should be focused completely on your husband. That's where your focus should be. But nah, it ain't focused on that. Focused on what you can't do. So you're bored from a Monday to a Friday. You don't have enough imagination in your own head to find excitement with your own husband. So you need some external stimulation. Well, guess what? Go get it. Go get it. The carousel has never left the grounds. Go get it. If you're so bored in a relationship, go get it. Go get it. But while you're getting it, get a clue as to what a relationship actually means. And also get a clue as to what your role is in the relationship. That's what you should get. If many of you ladies spent more time focusing on yourself as opposed to focusing on him, you'd be a lot further up the road in terms of your success rate where relationships are concerned. But you have to find a way to put your fingers in your ears and stop the noise. What do I mean? Stop the noise of the external interruptions that many of you receive. And with that being said, as we get ready to the very end of this particular stream, again, I thank all of you that jumped on the stream tonight. Shout out to all of you that took the time to get on the stream. Shout out to all of my YouTube members. This is a serious pandemic that's going on, and it's really sickening. Let's get right into it. I want to react to a video that Miss Tia Mowry and her husband had, and I want you to listen to this. Let's go.
I see Corey as my partner in crime. You know, it's like I'm not doing this alone.
Yeah. And Tia's been with me every step of the way. Like through the ups and downs, the bad, the ugly, you know.
Pardon me one second, guys. I want you to see this. I want to share this with you. And I'll tell you, this particular interview that they had was really sad, even more sad. It just brought more sadness to the whole scenario, you know, because it was just unnecessary, you know, and give me 1 second, just bear with me, folks. All right, let's get into it. All right. Everybody all right? Let's get into it.
I see Corey as my partner in crime. You know, it's like I'm not doing this alone.
Yeah. And Tia's been with me every step of the way. Like through the ups and downs, the bad, the ugly, she know ins and outs, everything. You know, she knows it all. So it's like I'd rather share that with somebody, you know, for the rest of my life than someone who don't know you. And then when everything, just say if everything was great, you don't know if it's genuine. You don't know. You don't know if it's real. You know, at least I know Tia got my back, you know, to the grave. So I know she's with me and she knows I'm with her. And that's just, you know, everything's not perfect. You know, marriage is work.
And that's
Marriage is work.
it
I'm not here.
is. Go ahead, sorry.
I'm not gonna be here and like, you know, everything is raw. You have to work hard, you know, to stay married, you know, and stay together. You know what I'm saying?
Their time.
Let's go there. He said, I know that Tia got my back to the grave. And she also concurred that it was the same on her end. What got in between those two ears to make that change? I don't believe he does not love his wife. And for many of you ladies that want to see the negative in everything, I mean, you just want to see the negative. I've said over and over in many, many streams that we are better together than we are apart. But why do I say that? Because when you fragment the male and female, and then you fragment as a result the children that were produced from those two, you destroy an entire community. You destroy the whole community. So what got in between this? Who got in between this to destroy these two individuals and their beautiful family? Let's get into it.
When I'm like, wow, like last year was pretty tough. But this year, it's good that we stuck, you know, to it, or we continued to be there for one another, or had patience with one another and worked out whatever issues or difficulties that we were having, because that next year is like a completely different year and an even better year.
Yeah.
You know,
every year seems to get better.
It does.
Like
it
as a
really
family
does.
first, as growth, development, careers, everything gets better.
And I fall more and more and more in love with him. I really do. Shut up, Corey. But it's not that gushy, you know, like the fake. I don't know. You know, some of these romantic comedies, they're so fake, and it's the more of like, man, like you really are my best friend.
And I think time has been like the result of that is we've been together a while, so it can't be that fake, because a lot of people get together, you see them, they in love and tattoos, and it's over in a year, 2, 3, it's done, but we still in it. So
he's like a part of my body. You know what I mean? It's like you know, it's like if it's I can't even visualize myself, you know, without Corey.
So let me ask you a question, Miss Tia Mowry. Why can you envision it now? Who gave you a new set of eyes? Who gave you a new set of eyes that today now you can visualize being without your husband? The man who gave you 2 children. Who gave you your new set of eyes?
She puts up with me because I'm a little crazy. But I mean, it's like it's a good crazy, but it's just me. She understands me, but she supports me, and she's.
How do I support you?
Do everything, just everything. If I need to talk to her, she's there. You know, for great advice. I mean, she's there to comfort me. I mean, she cooks pretty good. She does everything. She's like the super mom.
Oh, thanks.
And then she's my #1 fan.
I am.
She's on me, and you know, boy, y'all need to hear some of them conversations we have around here. It's genuine. It comes from a real place, and I know that, and that's always a great feeling to have when someone's really in your corner. So I love her to death.
I love you too. To death.
Yeah, even though she.
Did you hear that last statement? We're about to finish, guys. Do you hear that last statement? I love her to death. She replied, I love you to death. Many marriages don't reach death. They love until all of a sudden things just simply don't go perfect. And then they decide to walk away. So that whole I love you to death, it usually never gets to play itself out. In most communities, but in the black community in particular, we black women do not get to see, black marriages do not get to see the end of life. Even for those that do actually happen. Few far and in between. But they never reach to the end of life.
Get on my damn nerves.
You get on my damn nerves. But that's a part of the relationship, you know? I think we're very realistic. I think that's what's really cool about our relationship. I think that's what's really helped us be together for 15 years.
I would say listen to your wife. Because what T used to always tell me, a happy wife is a happy life. Even when you're...
Let's stop right there. That whole stupid statement of happy wife means happy life, they need to throw that statement somewhere. I don't know who started that retarded statement. Because it's obvious it's not much that can make the modern woman happy in the first place. So that whole happy wife, happy life, that's garbage. You have to know what you're in the relationship for. What is the marriage? Is it going to be ups and downs? Is he going to disappoint you? Yes. Is he going to make you upset? Yes. Is she going to disappoint you? Yes. Is she going to make you upset? Yes. Are there going to be some hurts involved during the course of the relationship? Absolutely. Will there be some disappointments, ups and downs, hots and colds? I told you, relationships, ladies and gentlemen, is like 4 seasons. Winter, spring, summer, and fall. Depending on the current of the air, clashing with hot air and cold air clashing determines the severity of each situation in your relationship. But no season lasts. No season stays. You'll come back to some good times again. Why walk away? Why decide to throw in the towel? Why kill the relationship? That is my question to you ladies. Why kill the relationship? So if you're not happy, all of a sudden one day you just throw the baby out with the bathwater, huh? This is a sickness among us.
Wrong, Tommy.
I'm like, just, yes.
Even
just
when you're wrong,
okay.
man, you have to say okay.
Just say okay.
A few times. Just a few times. You have to always, like, all right, so it can just stop and just get on with it, man.
It's very, very, very sad. Very sad indeed. Very sad. Very, very sad. Very sad. Again, guys, ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for getting on the stream tonight. Hope that you enjoyed this particular stream and that you got something out of it. For those of you that hear this stream, if you're married, stay in your marriage. Stay in your marriage, man. Don't be so quick to walk away. You made a promise. You made a promise. You made a promise first to God, and then you made a promise to the individual that you're marrying. What did that promise mean to you? And if it means anything, it means that you are to die together. Do we make mistakes along this journey called life? Absolutely. We make some very, very severe mistakes along this journey called life. But once you know, do something different. And the single most effective way to destroy any community is to dissolve family, to dissolve and make unimportant the whole institution of marriage. Get to the end of life. That is the key. Get to the end of life. Ladies, you're going to need somebody as you age out. You're going to need somebody there next to you. And for those of you that chose an alternative lifestyle, you already know I'm not talking to you. I'm talking about a heterosexual relationship. Man, woman, and child. You're going to need, as you get to the end of life, someone there next to you. Help you put your teeth in. You know? Help you stand up off the bed. You know? He's going to need you to help him stand up off the bed. Help him put his teeth in. You know? It won't always be hot girl summer, hot boy summer. No. You know? I don't care how you look today or how you move around today. You won't always be able to do that. That's the whole beauty of coming together. That you can get to the end of life together. As your body gets weaker, as your eyes get dimmer, as your hearing starts to fade, you know, as your teeth begins to fall out of your head, you know, you want to get to the end of life. But I'll tell you something, ladies, you're never going to see those kind of days if you don't release and let go of this modern woman's mindset. It has been the enemy to you, and it has been the enemy to our community as a black community, and it's been an enemy to communities in general. It's been an enemy. If you can see my screen, this is from blackdemographics.com. I just want to go over a few stats with you. African Americans are the least married of any major racial ethnic group in America. According to the Census 2020 ACS survey, 30% of African Americans were married, compared to 43% of Hispanics, 52% of whites, and 58% of Asians. Also, 50% of African Americans have never been married, compared to 28% of whites. Both black and white Americans have similar divorce statistics, of 12% of each population currently divorced, which is higher than Hispanics, 9%, and Asians, 5%. Both black and Hispanics have the highest percent, separated at 3%, compared to 1% of whites and Asians. This is a real pandemic, folks. This is not something to take lightly. This is a beautiful family. This was a beautiful family, like so many beautiful families that decided to put to death their relationship for the silliest reasons. For the silliest reasons. You say, well, Charles, how do you know it was for a silly reason? Well, I don't know, but I will tell you this. These kind of things exist. If you can see my screen, this is from an article that was published out of the Cosmopolitan. It's called, "I'm Already Bored with My Marriage." Listen what this young lady says. She said, "I've been married for a year, but with my husband for almost 5 years altogether. Within the past 7 months, I have felt like we are drifting apart. When we're together, we have nothing to talk about, or everything he says annoys me. We are often in the same room together playing on our phones because there's nothing to talk about. I was recently contacted by an old fling, someone I had huge crush on for about 5 years and I was good friends with. We only slept together twice but never actually dated. While talking to this guy, I felt giddy and all of my previous feelings resurfaced. It felt as though I had never met my husband. Wow. I am conflicted. Why? And I don't know what I should do. What you should do is go back to your husband." You hear this is the kind of nonsense that goes on. These are the reasons a lot of these divorces are filed, for something silly as this. I love my husband. Oh, do you? This is what she says, though. I love my husband dearly, but I honestly feel bored with our relationship. Wow. Can't make this stuff up, man. You cannot make this kind of garbage up. What the hell do you think a marriage is and a relationship is? What is it supposed to be? Great adventure? What's supposed to be a carnival? What is it supposed to be every day for the years that you're supposed to be together until you die? At what point, ladies, do you find yourself unexcited about your decision to marry the man that you married? I'm going to say this to the fellas that hear my stream. Take your time, man. Take your time. Don't you rush at all. Be careful. Choose wisely. Because this is what you're dealing with the modern woman today. This is what you're dealing with. And you are outnumbered as it relates to the narrative. So I guess Tia Mowry was bored. Bored with being a mother of two. Bored with being a wife to a man. What the hell is going on, man? This is ridiculous. And this is sad. This is sad. I pray that they reconcile. I pray that she comes to her senses, shakes off the dust of modern opinion, public opinion, and run back to her husband. If not, she has no idea what's ahead of her, what's waiting for her. So you think you're going to find love again, huh, Tia? Well, you've publicized your behavior all over the internet. You've publicized it. You've allowed the public and the media to disrespect the father of your two children, and you never came to his defense. Well, guess what? Men all over the world are watching this. There's no man that's going to trust you for any serious relationship going forward. Not after that behavior. He gave you no cause. And you walked away. Because you had an epiphany. Or you had an awakening. I tell you, boys, some of you ladies, man. Well, I hope they reconcile. I hope that's possible. And, yeah, man. With that being said, folks, I thank you again for getting on the stream tonight. For those of you that are on the stream for the very first time, please hit that subscribe button, hit the share button. For those of you in my Facebook group, I thank you for getting on the streams when you do. And I've appreciated all your support. Again, for those of you that are concerned about relationships, I mean truly concerned, keep these two individuals. I believe this is a beautiful family, like so many of our families that have dissolved. Keep them in your prayers that they reconcile, that they can reconcile. For the sake of her beautiful daughter, their beautiful daughter, and his son. They have a family. They're supposed to stay together. That being said, I'm your host, Charles Chandler. This is another episode of Let's Talk About It Now. Until next time, we are out. Good night, folks.